So first recipe that we're doing is a white bean, spinach, and artichoke soup. So this is a really nice kind of comforty, perfect for the fall soup. And again, we're trying to key in on some important ingredients here. But as far as the rest of the soup and the flavors and the herbs, you customize it to your preferences. So we use different spices and herbs. Change it up as you see fit. It'll work fantastic. There's no perfect science to recipes. It's really you're supposed to have fun in the kitchen and be able to customize it to your needs. So first way to start the recipe, or we're going to start off by adding a little bit of onion. We've got a large soup pot here, and we're going to add a little bit of olive oil. This is just pure olive oil. It tends to, not extra virgin olive oil, so pure olive oil, you can heat it up a little bit. You can use grapeseed oil as well. That's another great one. And when it's hot enough, you can add your onion. And you'll know when it's hot enough, so that wasn't hot enough, but I can start to hear it. We always say your food should be speaking to you. You got to use your senses, so not just your taste and your smell. Listen to your food. So you'll know when it's hot enough when it actually starts to sizzle. And I can start to hear it now. You'll hear it more in a little bit. But with the onions, we just want to cook them down just for 2-3 minutes, just until they're soft. Then we can go ahead and add our garlic. The reason we don't add it too soon is because the garlic will burn pretty fast. And I just have 1 clove of garlic. I'm not chopping it up or anything. I'm just using the back of the knife and just giving it a little bit of a crush. And we're going to put that in. And then again, let that saute for a little bit. I'm going to move a little bit faster. Now, don't be afraid to lower the heat and take a little bit of extra time. We always try to keep the recipes very easy, simple, fairly quick. So depending on your needs, you can do it over medium heat. Gradually add the ingredients. But I personally think that the longer things take to cook, the better they taste after in the end, because you're starting to develop flavor and you're developing caramelization in the vegetables, which is really important.
Scientifically proven.
Scientifically proven. So don't be afraid to lower the heat, instead of your medium setting. Maybe put it to medium-low. And if you have the time, gently saute the vegetables. We have about 5 minutes to do this recipe, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit. We're going to add some carrots in there. Just going to give it a quick stir. And while that's sauteing, I'm going to bring in the artichokes. Now, artichokes, you can find them jarred, you can find them canned, you can find them fresh as well. The fresh ones, obviously, they take a little bit more labor to get them ready, so you can try not to use the canned ones or the jarred ones. There's frozen ones too. If you can find frozen ones, those are actually pretty good. But I find that the canned ones, aside from the sodium that they add, it has a tinny flavor to it. So generally, don't use it. The whole artichokes, aside from the heart and the meat that you get, the flavor from the leaves that it gives the soup is fantastic, and it's really, really difficult to replace. So what I would suggest is, especially if you haven't prepared an artichoke before, go out. This would be a great first time to do it. And you don't need a lot. So for this recipe, I've got 1 large artichoke. They have some smaller ones available as well. So 3 or 4 of the smaller ones. And what I'm going to do with the artichoke is I've already trimmed off most of the outer leaves. Just some of the rough ones on the outside you want to take off. And then with the peeler, I've just kind of peeled away the outer green part. It's just very fibrous. It's kind of rough. It's not that fun to chew on. So you can remove that. Now with the rest of it, I'm going to take about the first inch off. That's where all of the little barbs are. Again, not fun to chew on. So just with the sharp knife, you can just cut through that. So you expose the top. And then what we want to do is cut it down the middle. Ooh. Yeah, use a sharp knife. Mine is obviously not that sharp. And so when you cut it down the middle, you're going to expose these fibrous little guys, which is your choke. This, again, the reason why it's called a choke is because it'll make you choke if you eat it.
Not easy to swallow, those furry guys.
No.
So you want to take those out.
Also, I've learned if you do have a garbage disposal, don't throw those into the garbage disposal, because I ruined my parents' garbage disposal by doing that. As a quick lesson, it'll jam everything up because it's so fibrous, it's so tough. the choke. So throw them out in the garbage is what I suggest. So pretty much what we want to do is we've cut it into quarters, and then that way it's easy to access, and you can scoop it out with a spoon, or if you have a knife, you can easily kind of just cut it out there, and most of the furry stuff will come out.
And artichokes are one of our folate superstars, so that's why we're featuring it in this recipe. So healthy adults need 400 micrograms of folate every day, and 1 cup of cooked artichokes gives you 200. So you're already halfway there if you're involving some artichokes in your diet. We're going to add some spinach as well, which we think of the leafy greens as being very rich in folate. And so a cup of cooked spinach will give you 260 micrograms. So you'll be well on your way to getting all the folate you need. And other great sources, we're going to be adding some beans. So things like kidney beans, nuts such as peanuts are also rich in folate, as well as whole grains. So if you're going for your whole grains and cutting down on the refined grains or your white bread, which have the folic acid added to them, you're still, if you're eating a healthy diet, going to get enough folate that you need. So there are situations where people should take folic acid supplements. And so definitely if you're of childbearing age, you want to make sure that you take a supplement, because that will reduce the risk of having neural tube defects or other birth defects. So a supplement is a good way to just cover your bases there. It's also important if you've had any surgery that may have affected absorption in your small intestine. So if you've had a cancer or other sort of surgery in that area, you want to make sure that you're getting enough folic acid or folate in your diet as well. So talk to a dietitian or talk to your doctor and see if you should be taking supplements. But there is a safe upper limit. So it's hard to get it from food, but if you're taking supplements, you don't want to go over 1,000 micrograms per day. Because as with most nutrients, if you overdo it and you take a lot of, just a supplement and you take it out of food and it's just on its own, then your body sometimes will have a negative reaction to that. So the folate in food or folate-rich diets have been shown to reduce risk of many forms of cancer. So it's important to include lots of sources in your diet as well. And so with the blood cell boosting aspect, what they do is or folate-rich foods play an important role in forming DNA, in forming healthy red blood cells, as we talked about. And they also, as a B vitamin, help to convert your food into energy along with the other B vitamins. So some very important roles.
So I just added the artichokes right into the pot with the onions and the garlic and the carrots. I just want to get a little bit of heat on them. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my herbs. So I chose bay leaf and thyme. They're nice little pretty hardy herbs. You can add these herbs a little earlier in the cooking process. Stuff like parsley, basil, cilantro. Those are great for adding at the end of your soups or your dishes because they're pretty delicate. But these I can add in the beginning. Now what I've done is, I'm not lying, someone actually asked if I threw a shoe in the soup before. This is just a little bit of butcher's twine, and what I'm doing is I'm wrapping it around the herbs, and I add it into the pot, and then you can kind of circle it around. Mine's induction. I don't have flame, so I don't have to worry about that. But if you do have flame, don't have a dangling piece of twine. You can just wrap it around the handle.
Safety tips are very important.
Yes. So what's great about it after is because bay leaf and those woody, sticky herbs, you don't want to be chewing on that. So you can actually pull it right out of your soup after.
And you don't have to
play
go
the
fishing
game.
afterwards.
Do you make your own sauce?
Yes, yeah. So vegetable stock you make from scratch. So after we add the herbs, we're going to add a couple more ingredients, and then we're going to add our stock. So we're going to add just a few chopped tomatoes, about a cup of chopped tomatoes. And we're going to add, so what I've done is made a vegetable stock, and I've soaked some dried mushrooms in it as well. That's kind of just a little secret I like to do. Dried mushrooms give it a really good umami, savory, almost meaty flavor to soups and dishes. So, try it. Stick a few in, and the stock has to be a little bit warm so that you can get some of that flavor out of it. And that can go in. Now with dried mushrooms, the only thing that I'm going to say is you can put all the mushrooms in. The last little bit, hold back. A lot of the grit from the dried mushroom kind of falls to the bottom, and it's a little sandy. It's not very pleasant to eat. So you can discard that. And if you need a little bit more liquid, if you want it more soupy, you can just add a little bit more water to that. And now bring that to a boil, let it simmer. Again, it'll only take about 15-20 minutes. If you have the time, turn it even lower and let it go for about 45 minutes. It doesn't have to go too long, but again, let those flavors develop and marry into each other. The beans, if you're using cooked beans, so these are dried beans that are reconstituted, so it doesn't really take much time in the soup. I'll add it probably 10 minutes before finish. I like a little bit of bite on it. If you like them very soft, you add them in a little bit earlier. And the spinach right at the end. And then what you're looking at is almost like a minestrone kind of texture. But the artichokes in there really give it a lot of flavor, which is nice. So I don't know if you guys can see that.
Ooh, yeah.
But it's, it's got that soupy color, yeah.
I didn't realize there was a soupy color.
There is a
but
soupy
you're
color,
right.
you're right.
I see it now.
Well, I like color better than plain.
Yeah, for sure.
See-through
We
soup.
with our eyes,
Regular
right?
soup is
The more colors you can add, the more nutritious and the more appealing it's going to look. There you go.
Chasing me. So, really nice color. And the artichokes, remember the artichokes, I mean, you can, pick at them. And that's the beauty of having a full artichoke. It's not, just kind of disintegrating in there. It's an ingredient. So, really nice, hearty, tasty soup for the fall and full of
Sunday's
folate.
the first day of autumn, so I think I'll make it Sunday.
There we go. There we go.
There's your folate-rich soup.